Thank you very much, Kristin, for coming to my podcast, Business Breakthrough. It's very nice having you in here. I have checked and you are obviously in the wellness and health space. And then I'm very interested to hear more about that and about your stud wellness, because health is very obviously broad spectrum, and a lot of people are always just thinking the traditional way. And then it'll be really good to hear what you've got to share today. Mm-hmm. So I'll just leave you some space, and you can share about you and what is your mission, what is it you do, so we can get you a little bit more.
Absolutely. So Stat Wellness, I always go back to the beginning just briefly to know where I come from and my background, but I started as a personal trainer, and it was my favorite job. I got to be people's encourager, their supporter, their cheerleader. I got to help them do things they never thought possible, even as simple as squatting and picking things up off the ground. And my parents wanted me to get a college degree. So they kept telling me, like, anything you want to do, just finish school. You could do marketing, business. And I decided to do nursing because everybody told me I could fall back on it. And as soon as I got in the healthcare system, I realized how good we were at sick care. My first rotation was the dialysis unit, and people were getting their blood filtered for 4 hours, bright fluorescent lights. There was really no opportunity to focus on health in the model. So I went on to get my master's as a family nurse practitioner, hoping I could really sit down with patients and talk about their lifestyle, bring my personal training background in, talk about the importance of moving your body and lifting weight. And then I realized I had 5 or 10 minutes with patients in primary care, and that I was trained to assess their symptoms and find the right treatment. So you had 5 or 10 minutes to be like, okay, what's your symptom? What's the treatment? Okay, you have a sinus infection, here's an antibiotic. Okay, your blood pressure is elevated, here's the medication. And I was like, well, so much of this can be prevented through our lifestyle. So I went and got my doctorate. I did my dissertation on gut health. I started understanding our whole body functions as one. So I obviously got into the space of what's called functional medicine, which is root cause medicine. And it just helps us understand how biology and physiology all plays a role. And where are the imbalances? How do you address those so that ultimate healing can happen instead of just putting a Band-Aid on it? So I went into functional medicine, and then the problem I saw there was I saw my patients every 6 months, and I had no idea what they were doing in between. And I was like trying to fit everything into this like 1 30-minute or an hour visit. So I had more time, but then I was like, okay, I'll see you in 6 months. Good luck. And I was like, that's not going to work either. So that's where Stat Wellness came from, is my background in personal training, what I saw in the primary care model that wasn't working, and then what I saw in the functional medicine model that I felt like wasn't working either. And so we created what we like to refer to as your modern healthcare solution. Like it's just healthcare. It's personal trainers, it's physical therapists, it's functional medicine providers, it's health coaches, dietitians, all under one roof, working to help you feel better and be the best version of yourself. And what my favorite part of all of it is we've been able to create an approachable price model. So we have a membership-based model that's $185 a month for unlimited health coaching, unlimited dietitians, 5 functional medicine visits a year, 3 physical therapy appointments. And, I want to redefine healthcare, not for the top 1 to 5% of Americans. I want to redefine healthcare for the top 30, 40% of Americans. And so we have college grads that are starting their career that are able to come and be patients of Stat. Right? This is not just for the business executive that's paying a $60,000 concierge package. So that long story, hopefully that set the stage for what Stat Wellness is, but that's where we were and where we are. We currently we're opening our 7th and 8th location over the next month or two. And we have about 10,000 patients and close to 80 employees. So, we just keep growing, and our goal is to be in every metro city.
Wow. It's amazing. So when are you coming to Edinburgh?
Oh, I would love to. We've not left the US borders yet, but I look forward to.
You have a big grounds to cover in US, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we probably need it a little bit more than you guys. Like we need the healthcare model.
Yes, I don't know. I'm usually surrounding myself with people which a lot of people, they care about their health. So I do too. And it's very good because just myself, I've not been to doctor for, I think 10 years.
Wow.
Normal doctor, traditional doctor. I don't take any antibiotics or any pills for 10 years and nothing. And it's thanks to my wife, because she was really into learning about health and functional medicine. And then she said the body heals itself. You don't need to disrupt it too much. So the same process, where I had the temperature in the past, my mom take that pill, and my wife said, don't take that pill. The body will do the same. And body did the same thing with or without. So I'm like, it's so funny. But it's but people in their head, it's doctor, it's an authority, and is their first go-to person. I have actually a new member of staff, and she's just 22, and she's going to be listening to that because she's going to be editing it. But she had something happened, and the first thing was like, I'm going to the doctor, and they gave her antibiotics. And then I asked her what happened, what was it? And they gave me antibiotics, and they said, I need to drink a lot of water. I'm like, if I would just drink a lot of water and no antibiotics, the same would happen.
Yes. Yes. I love the statement that you said that like our body, it knows what it's doing. If we give it the right input, it knows what it's doing. The right nutrition, the right sleep, the right movements. Our body does want to heal and stay in what we call homeostasis or balance. And so I'm glad your wife has influenced you.
Yes. And I'm now influencing everybody else as well, because I run masterminds all around Europe at the moment, and we go, and the health is always the topic. And actually, on the last mastermind in Romania a month ago, I had that microbiome gut expert. She was there, and we were interviewing her. And I thought it would be maybe a good connection for you to have a chat, because she's in Switzerland, and she's opening a clinic now with some doctor about the functional medicine, gut health, and a lot of different things which they are doing. And then obviously you are already quite, when I see ahead of that, because you are already opening 8-9 locations. So, I think it's kind of her first clinic, because before she was like self-employed. But I thought maybe it would be a good connection for you too, because maybe she'll see something, maybe for collaboration in the future, you cross the US to different countries, to have people like that would be maybe a good idea. Yeah.
I would love that connection. And I'm excited to hear that, there's so many people across the nation that are really looking, or across the world, at the gut microbiome and setting up clinics around it. Like I've seen some of these luxury retreats that are all about gut microbiome support. Like you go and you eat high fiber, whole foods, you rest, you manage stress, you support the vagus nerve. And it's like, it's a retreat for your gut. I'm like, it's kind of, why do we have to go to a retreat for that? But like, sometimes you have to get out of the busyness of your day to day. So I love the direction that the world is going in.
Yeah, it's very good. And like you said, like the price, the point, $185, like for all the things we are offering, it's amazing, because like you said, when you check those things, they usually are very expensive. That, like you said, for the top 1 to 5% of people, and not many people have that kind of money to do it. Or let's say the gut thing itself, like there is €500 for the test, and then €2,000 for just the assessment of that. And then even the treatment, it didn't even start what you should be doing, and you are already here. And then, so people after that are deciding, like, do I want the gut test? Do I want the test for that? What do I want to do? Because there is blood test and this one, there is so many different options. And then people, it's money, and then people don't have it, so they don't do it, and they end up eating not well and going to the doctors, and nothing changes. So when you set up the price point on 185, it's really good, because that's like, in here is like 100, it'll be like £130, which would be very achievable for a lot of people to sign up for that and get all the benefits. So yeah. And which cities are you in? Because I'm going to USA this year twice. I'm going to Nashville and Los Angeles. So I'm just thinking, is it any close?
Nashville. Yes. Nashville is one of our biggest locations. So you need to send me an email and go by and see it. I would love, when are you going to be in Nashville?
So I'm going there to play golf with JT Fox on 13th of July this year, in a month and 2 weeks. But I'm going to travel. I'll be there I don't have tickets yet, so it'll be good to maybe discuss it, because I'll be there for maybe 4 days or something like that. It's just a really in and out trip, because my daughter has a birthday, so I need to be back. But so maybe if I could combine it to go there and maybe to see you guys, because then at least I can see it in action as well, see what you are guys doing, and maybe it'll be good,
I would love that. But the cities, so we started in Atlanta, Georgia with our first one in Midtown. And then we kind of went to some of the suburbs around Atlanta. We went to Roswell, Georgia. We went to Peachtree City. Then we went to Charleston, Nashville, And then we came back to Atlanta and went to Cumming. Because what's interesting, and I know you probably have some brick and mortars that you've talked with, but when you have such good brand awareness in your community, you open up in a suburb and it just automatically does better than when you go into a new city and start from scratch where you don't have brand awareness. And until you actually do it as a business owner, you don't quite understand the haul of it's like starting over from scratch again. And so what we found is we're going to go out of state and then come back to a metro city, then go out of state, come back to a metro city, so that we have a little bit of these like quick wins in between these ones where we need all hands on deck to reach out to community, spread awareness, do marketing, all of those things.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yes, it is amazing. Yeah. Yeah, it's a funny thing. Even like now we're speaking about the helmet. I've been in Italy for a wedding. I just came back and there was the guys. And then, I don't know, we were just dropping them to the airport. And from nowhere, I don't know why they asked us, but it was like meant to be. They were like, guys, what water are you drinking? They live also in the UK. They live in Nottingham. And they're like, what water are you drinking? And I'm like, that's interesting why they're asking me this. Because we actually bought recently water ionizer, which was quite expensive. And then I told them, like, we drink that kind of a water. It's a Kangen machine. It does the pH and da. And then they were so interested in it. It's just interesting that people start thinking about it because they realize that actually normal water is actually, people know that drinking water is good, but they don't know what kind of water actually. So it was actually...
Well, and it's crazy. Here, you can go to the Environmental Working Group or EWG, and you can put in your zip code and you can see what's in tap water. And it's mind-blowing. You can see the medications that are showing up in our tap water. You can see the different herbicides and pesticides and all of these at very, very low amounts from people flushing things down the toilet and all of that. So it's really interesting when you can actually see what's in your water. And if you think about the fact that we're 60% water, we should be drinking at least half our body weight of water every single day. I always tell people when you're looking at kind of cleaning up your lifestyle, that is one of the first places you should look. I always talk about is cleaning up the water and deodorant are like my two. I'm like, those are some really fantastic places to start if you're wanting to clean up your lifestyle. And then you probably are seeing some of the research or talk around this. But the next piece is like a lot of people are moving to good quality water from plastic water bottles. Like, they're getting the Evian and things like that. And the microplastic research right now, it's like we've got to keep the stainless steel because the microplastic research, it's mind-blowing. We've now identified microplastics in every single organ in the body, the brain, the liver, the kidneys, for women, the ovaries, men, the testes. It's a big driver of cardiovascular disease. So it's like, those questions that you guys are starting to have on the what kind of water are you drinking? It's like, it does make such a difference. And I think a lot of people realize these small, simple things that we do don't make a difference. And my favorite saying is little by little, little becomes a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I had it here. Give me just a second. Was you can probably still hear me, but I was here. I did. You are from USA, so you know a lot. But I've done a lot of events with Tony Robbins in the past, and then it's zooming on me. And then there was this speaker, and then I read the book Dirty Girl.
I have not read this yet.
Yeah, and then there is all, like you mentioned, the plastics and all the things which are pesticide, herbicide, fungicide, mold. And what everything is out there, and you read it, and you are like, oh.
Yep. Yes.
So even the what's happening? They said about the tires, like you are traveling, and it's like your tire is going. You have less of the tire, so then you need to replace your new tires for your cars. Like, where do you think it goes? It just goes to the nature, and then it's in the food, and it's there and there. So that's why obviously. Sometimes the other things, it's a good book. Yeah, it's really good. Did you write any book about these kind of topics already?
Not. That's next on my list for 2027 is to write a book. I do a lot more podcasts. I have a Little by podcast and a lot more. I'm getting on LinkedIn now. I spend so much of my time in person with patients and then working on the business, but it's like, it is time. It's time to write a book.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the book can be a really useful tool for you to as well reach more people with that topic because it's really relevant, and I think more people are interested in it. I've been also in some conference in Australia, and there was a guy. He's like I don't know how he's call himself like a food futurist. He's looking for companies where people are gonna go with what food they will want, like in different industries, because he said, like, for example, when people fly in the plane, they serve you certain food, but like if they would like to change it, you need to think about it now so they can change it in a few years because they are already pre-ordered and it's a big place. So he said, like, he sees more and more people obviously wearing hoops and Oura rings and all these things. So people are checking their data and then they want to obviously eat healthier and then be more aware of the health. So he sees like it's going to go in the good direction for the people who are aware, but there are still a lot of people who are unaware. So, but you are doing a great job. You have that many patients and doing it. How long are you having that business then, Start Wellness? Because it's a good business.
So we started in 2019 and opened our second location in 2022. And, our Atlanta location, 2/3 of the space is barbells and weights. And what happened in 2020, the world kind of shut down from the pandemic. So we had to really figure out, how do we keep our mission of community? How do we keep our mission of movement when our gym is closed from the pandemic? And we made it through. We started moving to a lot more virtual training on an app. We did telemedicine. We didn't have to lay anybody off. But it took us those, extra couple years to get our feet back under us. And then we opened Roswell in 2022. And then Peachtree City in 2023. This is our biggest year of growth as far as how many locations we're opening in the same year, because we're going to have Cumming, Sandy Springs, we're going to have Charlotte, and we're trying to nail Greenville. So this will be our first year of going to 4 new locations in 1 calendar year.
Mm-hmm. And what do you think is the biggest challenge with expansion?
Scaling, I was asked on another podcast if starting or scaling is harder. And to me, it's like such an immediate scaling. Scaling is so much harder because when you're starting, it's like you as the entrepreneur that's so passionate about it, where you can control everything. You've got your hands in everything. Scaling is like emotionally so much tougher because you've got to like make sure you're embedding your culture into every one of these locations that you can't be in. They're not my whole team isn't working beside me anymore. And that's a hard thing to like spread who you are as a company and an organization when you're not physically in the building working with your team. So I think that piece, the scaling is harder. I think the biggest challenge for us, like with brick and mortars, is brick and mortars are a lot more expensive than growing technology, right? Like you build a technology platform and then you expand your reach. Like we feel so strongly to disrupt everybody moving to telemedicine, moving to AI, to stay true to brick and mortar human connection. And I can't tell you how many of my patients, when they go to leave, ask if they can give me a hug. Like I hug my patients at the desk. I had a patient the other day tell me she loved me. I'm like, you can't build that relationship without that like in person. And I've worked with some of these patients for 10 to 13 years in different places I've been. And so I think the hardest piece of expansion is keeping your culture, keeping your team, understanding Stat Wellness's campfire story. Like we want to stay scrappy. We want to stay true to who we were the day we opened. Even if we get big, which we are going to, I don't want to feel just like a corporation. I never want our patients to walk through the door and feel like a number. So one of our Stat promises is, every person is known. At Stat Wellness, every person is known. You have a name, you have a story, you have a background. Every plan is personalized. We're going to meet with you. If you don't like steak, we're not going to tell you to eat steak, right? Like if you don't like salmon, we're not going to put in your plan, eat salmon 3 times a week, right? Every plan is personalized. And then what kind of our promise is that every visit is going to move your health forward. I think it's really important to understand, like people sometimes come to us and they're like, how are you going to cure me? I'm like, no, we're going to help you have the knowledge about how your body works. We're going to help dig deeper. We're going to help educate you. But like, we aren't fixers. We're not going to just be able to put a magic wand on this. But we can guarantee we're going to give you information and knowledge to move your health forward. And so like, I think for us, as we've scaled, the infrastructure piece has just been so important. Getting really, really clear. I know this is simple stuff, but really clear on our mission, really clear on our vision, really clear on our core values and the unsexy core values. So when I meet with the team and I'm interviewing, I'm like, hey, one of our core values is relentless customer service. And the word relentless is in there because that like feels intense, right? And it is. Like that is my expectation, is that we have relentless customer service. And so I don't sugarcoat things anymore. I think when you first start out, you kind of like sugarcoat things because you want to get good talent in and all. I'm like, no, we know who we are now. And we know who succeeds in this role. We're not sugarcoating anything. We're going to tell you exactly how hard this role is, but you are going to have such an impact. You are going to change people's life. You are going to leave every day feeling humbled by the meaningful work you're doing, but it's hard. And so I think that, we're learning as we go, but scaling has been harder than starting for me because it's your baby. We describe,
Yes.
and I don't know if you probably have heard this, but we describe business as children. We have 3 kids of our own, and you've got infancy where you're like physically exhausted and you're like learning to parent. You have no idea what you're doing, right? That's like the startup phase. Like you're physically exhausted. I feel like I wasn't sleeping. I'm thinking about the business all the time. I'm like, what am I doing? And then you get the toddler where you're kind of wobbling around. You're like, okay, we're getting a little bit more stable, but we're wobbling, And then you got the childhood, like this, like beautiful, like we have 3 locations. We have like a lot of control over what's going on. The 5-year-old to 12-year-old that you never hear anybody talk about. Like that was just like the childhood, the glamour. And then now we're in this like adolescence where we open our biggest locations in new cities that don't know who we are, with new employees that weren't patients of ours first, right? And it's like, okay, we're seeing the acne on our face. This is emotionally a little bit more challenging. So, I look forward to becoming that consultant when you have grown kids that have left the house, but we're not there yet. So I hope that kind of like answers your question, but I think it's the messy middle.
Yeah, actually, it's very good what you are saying. I actually as well have 3 children, so that's something. And then, like you are saying about the baby, and then it's growing and toddler. I actually have seen that first graph when I was actually on the Business Master with Tony Robbins. He had something similar showing there. And then in that point, I realized like, yeah, I'm actually here. And it's normal to struggle with the cash flow because I'm in that state at the moment. And when I'm going to go there, there'll be different problems. But sometimes in business, we don't know. And then we are like, I shouldn't have those problems. No, but you should, because this is the stage of the business. So it's normal. And when you realize that these things are normal, then you'll learn how to work with them. And then do you have enough of talent coming to you when you are opening new locations, or is it struggle to find the right people? Because obviously the people for your business is the key, right?
Mm-hmm. So I would say overarching, yes. Like I think we have a lot of people that are putting their resumes in for jobs that we don't even have open. And we have people that are willing to move to locations that we have. People are really bought into the movement of what we're doing at Stat, how we're redefining healthcare. I think where the piece that's tricky is a lot of people don't have like true functional medicine experience. So we have created an 8-week residency program. And so we put all of our functional medicine providers through an 8-week residency. And it's a lot. I mean, they're drinking from a fire hydrant. And when you go into a new form of medicine like this, I say it's a year before you feel comfortable. So like you're going to feel uncomfortable in your job for 1 year. Like that's kind of hard. That's hard to every day show up when you feel uncomfortable. And then it's 2 years and you start to feel confident. So I think like we have good talent coming in, specifically for, health coaches. There's so many amazing health coaches and dietitians and our patient care specialists. The functional medicine providers is the hardest just because they don't get that real life experience. And if they do, they've often started their own business. And what's fun is we're kind of getting to the point where some of those individual functional medicine providers are reaching out, wanting to be acquired by us and become a Stat Wellness. So, I think yes and no. But I think the 8-week residency has really helped make sure that we get good people and then we provide a platform to set them up for success.
Amazing. And I always ask people, when you are having any difficult situation, I don't know, whatever it can be in life, in business, don't need to explain what it is. But when you were feeling down, when you were building things, what helped you the most to overcome that?
I know this is going to sound so basic, but I try in day one of whatever is really difficult for me to not actually spend too much energy thinking about it and to sleep on it. And I feel so much clearer the next day. So I always joke that my superpower is I've never lost a night of sleep on the business ever. And so I think that piece is so important to me, that like, don't let whatever's going on disrupt your basic foundations when it comes to your lifestyle. And get good quality sleep. You're going to have a different mindset, a different thought process on it day 2, at least in my experience. So I think for me, I lean in on my lifestyle a lot more. I lean in a lot more on like, let's make sure I'm exercising. Let's make sure I'm sleeping well. And you're going to get clarity on this situation that you don't have. Versus like, I feel like entrepreneurs typically are like, I'm going to put everything into this issue and this problem, and I'm going to burn myself out, and I'm not going to sleep, and I'm going to think about it continuously. And that can be very exhausting. So I would challenge you to like take a step back and focus on you first. And then you're going to come to the situation with a lot more clarity.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I like it a lot because in the past, for example, when COVID happened, I also, I had a brick and mortar like a cafe, and then I had to shut it down. And then things kind of fell down. I didn't know what to do. And then I stayed in the state for a while, didn't know how to move forward. But then when you are obviously working on yourself, doing all obviously things, then I think the emotional muscles are very important. And I have the same, like when there is an issue that day, I know that the next day I'm going to be much clearer about it. So I just don't worry about it as much. And like you said, sleeping and the next day is much better. Or when there is some tough questions, so I'll be like, even with my wife, it's like, okay, tough question. Let's sleep on it. Tomorrow we'll give them answer. We don't need to give them answer today. Let's see. And then the new day is the new energy. And especially, of course, it's good to exercise and things like that because that's going to help. And then everything is much clearer and easier the next day. Like you said, like some people, they overwhelm with that for too long. And then stress is obviously.
And anytime I felt like I made a bad decision as a leader was being reactive in that moment when there was a problem, like just like jumping on it and having that like fire and the emotion behind whatever is going on. And every time those are when I'm like, that was not the best. I didn't present myself in the best way, or I didn't answer that question in the best way. So like, I just challenge you guys. The hardest thing to do is to just not react as a business leader. But I think that's the most important thing we can do. Is don't react, sleep on it. The other thing I'll do, and I know this is kind of also silly and tactical, but I'm very like get things out of my brain. So when I'm feeling super overwhelmed and there's like 100 different things going on and I feel like everything is going poorly at the time and there's so many fires. And, you know, I heard this quote one time that when you're the CEO of a larger company, like a people company, every day your phone rings, it's like you're getting punched over and over because when you're at the top, people bring every big problem to you. And so I was like, wow, that is kind of true. Like as you have more people calling and more problems, which is good, right? That's a sign of growth. But what I'll start to do is I'll take out a piece of paper when I have those days and I just start writing every single thing down, like just write it all down. And then I take a Sharpie and like 50% of my list I write down, I have like zero control over. It's just like noise in my brain that's stressing me out. So I take a Sharpie and I draw through those things and I just get it out of my mind. And then there's usually 50% that I have extreme control over. So I like circle those. And then I write out like, okay, what are the like 2 tactical steps I'm going to take right now that's going to improve that situation? And that just like helps with the noise in my brain. So I don't know if that's helpful for any of your listeners, but I got to get it out of my mind and stop focusing on the things I can't control.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that's very powerful. Yeah, Tony speaks about it a lot always. Tony Robbins, like, we can control what is inside of us, but we have no control what's going to happen outside. So focus on inside, not the outside. And I don't know, who was it? Because either I've been on the event or it was podcast, I don't know, but somebody was sharing about when they were scaling and opening multiple locations. Didn't remember the name. I can find out, but they were asking him like, how do you find that? Because the main thing was finding the manager for that place, you know, and ideally obviously give them, you know, they can be some co-owners in the future, maybe some shares and things like that. But one of the things, how he was describing it, he said, okay, so we're going to have a deal. I'm going to give you a good salary. You can also become a shareholder. You're going to be in charge of all of this, but that's what's going to happen. If this phone rings, you don't have the bonuses. You don't have things because now you are not doing the job. It's mine now. If this doesn't ring, you get all of that. If this rings from you, we have a deal. And then basically that's how he was opening the locations and nobody's bothering him with anything. And then he would train them. They would know what to do. The good executives to do the job what they are hired to do. But he was like explaining, I'm like, I don't want to hear the phone. No. Yeah. In that case, I don't need you. I have a lower salary and then the problem can still come to me. So that was quite nice to hear. So when more locations.
I like that. I like that. You can have a lower salary and I'll take on that burden, or you can have the salary, have shares, and you are now the person. You get to really diversify that responsibility, which I love. There's a famous, I think it's Ed Sheeran, that doesn't have a cell phone. I don't know if I got this right, but I feel like I saw it somewhere. And I was like, that is to me what success is going to look like if there's a day I don't have a cell phone and people just know to call somebody else that's going to bring a tablet in front of me to say hi when someone calls, because it's constantly attached to you. Like I live on do not disturb because I think the cell phones are playing a huge role in human unhappiness.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. When we run the masterminds, actually we have one coming in 10 days in here in Scotland. So what I always do in the morning, I was like, okay, collecting the phones. Everybody gives me the phone. And then we put it on the side and they're going to get them back in the evening. And for the strong ones, they're going to get it after 5 days. And then they were like, yeah, but what I'm going to do if there's some question in my business? I'm like, so if they're questioning your business and they need you, you don't have a business. You still have a job.
Yes.
So
yes.
if you don't have a business, you're going to give me your phone and we're going to make sure that when you leave the mastermind, you have a business because we're going to put systems in place because at the moment you have a job. So, but it's so challenging. People like so addicted to the phones.
But it's also so freeing because that probably is an opportunity for them for maybe the first time to truly work on their business and not in their business. People don't realize the, cortisol hit of every time you open your phone and see an email or a text message or all of these things. Like they're all distractions. And so I love that you do that as like a kicking off your mastermind. Because now for the first time, it's like you don't have those distractions. You get to sit and work on your business with like-minded people.
Yes. Yeah. And also when you do something like that, then and the mastermind works like obviously somebody's sharing something about their business or even about their life. It can be emotional, very often it is. And then you want the presence of all the other people. So they are helping that one person to overcome that and give them some ideas. But if the people will be on the phone, then it's disrespectful for the person who is on the hot seat, right? And I'm like, yeah, you wouldn't want that same from the other people. So that's why the phones are out. So yeah, I'm very strict about it, but then they see the results and they can check the phones in the evening. I don't care.
Yes.
Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up because obviously we've done like half an hour now, but I really enjoyed the conversations with you. It's really a topic which I'm very interested in and then a lot of my clients as well. It's just a shame that you are in USA so far at the moment, but if there is any option for me to come and visit you in Nashville, I'll definitely, let's chat about it and then make something happen because it'll be good to see. I can take some videos, maybe some ideas, and I can connect you with that person in Switzerland. And maybe you don't know what's going to happen in a few years when you'll be maybe reaching out to Europe, or maybe I can introduce you to some other people in USA because I have a lot of connections there as well. So, yeah.
I would love it. Thank you so much, Vincent. This was such a great conversation, and I look forward to you seeing our Nashville office.
Yeah, absolutely. Perfect. Thank you so much.